The Pay It Forest Coalition field tour on July 24th will be focusing on watershed health and forest access issues. The Road and Recreation Committee reviewed the travel analysis process draft report at a recent committee meeting and used that background to help recommend to the ID team types of locations that they would like to see within this project area. This is the Middle Fork Weezer River project area. It's roughly 50,000 acres. The travel analysis process, or TAP, was introduced in the last project, Lost Creek, Boulder Creek, and the draft report is available for this project, and it's the hard copy was made available at the end of the June field trip. If you weren't able to make the field trip in June, just let me show you quickly where you can retrieve a copy of the draft report. It does have content that provides great background for the field tour and will help you understand some of the steps that were involved in order to reach these recommendations that the ID team has made for some of the roads. So on the spatial interest site, if you go to the Pay It Forest Coalition page and over to Middle Fork Weezer River project status, recall that there are 4 file tabs here. The management direction is the one you want. And since the report, the TAP report, is a draft, there is a link here that will take you to the PAYET's project page, and in that way you will always get the current version of the draft. So there are 4 different documents here. 3 of them are maps. One is an overview map, the other is a map book, and a second version of the map book built on 7.5-minute quads. The report itself is the second link, and if you click on that link, it will retrieve a PDF file, and the entire report is well worth the time reviewing before the field trip, but I will point out 3 or 4 different areas. Notice that the title has the name of the 4 sub-watersheds that make up the project. We will be talking about not only the TAP report and the road classification, but watershed condition framework. And this flow chart in Figure 1 does a good job of explaining the relationship between these different processes. The triangle at the bottom is the planning, environmental review, and implementation triangle of the Forest Service that we've reviewed several times over the past 4 years. But within that framework of that 3-sided process, there are individual steps described here for the TAP and also for the watershed condition framework. As you go over to the right here, there's an important difference between the TAP and NEPA. NEPA is a decision process. The TAP is not a decision document. It is a great analytical tool that provides recommendations, but it must go through the NEPA review and public comment in order to have a final record of decision on the different road actions. So the short end of the story is review Figure 1 to help understand how these different pieces fit together. And the watershed condition framework, Class 1 is functioning properly, Class 2 functioning at risk, and Class 3 impaired function. So each of those 6 level watersheds is classified into one of those 3 conditions. The TAP uses a rating scheme, two variables: risk, high, moderate, and low risk. And by risk refers to either a negative environmental effect or a safety risk. The benefit, there are resource benefits from road access, and again the rating scheme here is high, moderate, and low. And then the cells in the table are the road recommendations that are a result of a risk score and a benefit score. So, for example, a high risk, high benefit, the recommendation is to improve the road. At the other extreme, a low risk score and a low benefit score leads to a recommendation of decommission. And in the appendix to the report, there is more detail on the steps that the specialists go through in order to make these ratings on the individual road segments. And then Table 4 is another important resource. Each individual route number is listed in the first column. In some cases, these routes have multiple segments, and the segments can be rated differently. So for each road segment, the length is listed under the miles column. There is a risk rating for resource factors: fish, riparian conditions, soils, water quality, wildlife, and invasive weeds. The resource benefit rating, the primary considerations are range, recreation, and vegetation. And then there's also a column of special uses. For example, is there an allotment permittee that uses that road in order to get to a grazing allotment? The risk benefit rating is the composite score for that road segment. So for this first road, there's a rating of low risk and high benefit. Based on that combination, the ID team recommendation is to maintain the road. So each of the different road segments has that rating and the recommendation from the team. And if you bring this document along with you, you can use that as a reference at the different tour stops. So with that background, let's get back to the map and the tour stops. North to south, the watersheds that are listed on the cover page of the report. This is Granite Creek, a watershed condition of impaired. Jungle Creek has a condition of at risk. Mica Creek has also a condition of at risk, and Little Fall Creek a condition of impaired. I mean, obviously, when we talked about the watershed condition framework, roads are an important part of that. They aren't the only factor. I've described it as the 12 dials on the dashboard. There are 12 different indicators that build into the watershed condition, but roads certainly have a significant influence on it. Since the committee did review the TAP report, which is road focused, that is going to be an important part of the tour. So there will be 5 stops, and each of the symbols here has a letter on it. 3 of them have the symbol E. That means that the recommendation from the TAP report at those tour stops is the ID team needs to further evaluate. So since this can be a significant part of the total miles of roads, and it certainly was in Lost Creek, Boulder Creek, I think 3 tour stops provide the opportunity to discuss what goes on in order to reach that determination and what needs to happen next in order for the ID team to make a complete evaluation. The other map symbol letter is a D, and the recommendation from the team in the TAP report on those segments is to decommission roads. And again, let me emphasize that this is not a final decision. These are recommendations that still must go through the NEPA process. But over the past 4 years, the coalition's had multiple discussions about road decommissioning, so it's important to have 2 good examples and discuss the reasons behind the conclusion and also the potential action. There's a range of different decommissioning alternatives and which one would be appropriate at each of these tour stops. So we'll begin and sort of make the tour virtually here with the imagery in the backdrop, but we'll start here in Micah Creek at tour stop 1, and go on to 2, and then the last 3 will be in Granite Creek, in the Granite Creek watershed at the northern end of the project boundary. So the first tour stop will be an interesting one. There was a landslide at this location in 2010. So it was a fairly large slide that has blocked this road ever since. So the topics for discussion are the potential fixes for the road and what are the benefits of access. And the potential for this type of slide to occur in the future at other locations is also a factor that the ID team considers when they're making their benefit risk rating. Second stop, also in Micah Creek, is a road that involves an allotment permittee. There's also a connection to private ownership, potlatch land, and the discussion will include those factors as well as general access and the risk-benefit rating of the road. We'll be starting somewhere down in here, but just to give you a little overview of that road, it actually crosses into the next watershed. Okay, from there we'll journey up to the Granite Creek watershed. Stop number 3 is the first tour stop in that watershed. This road is a candidate for decommissioning, and so the discussion topic here will be the reasoning behind that and the type of decommissioning. I'm going to close out this window. Just the road is not highlighted here on the imagery, but you can see roughly where the alignment of the road goes. And so this is the road segment that will be under discussion, not the main road that is highlighted in white. And again, to give you just a little bit more of a overview of where we are in that watershed. The next 2 stops are going to be the east and west side of one single road. This road from the east end is a potential decommission, and so again the risk-benefit rating will be discussed, the reasoning in the TAP work that led to that rating, what is the current access, and also the fact that Adams County did identify this as a potential ATV route. So that is Road 50197 from the east side. We will then go to the intersection on the west side, and on this side the recommendation was an E for ID team evaluate. So the road condition, of course, will be discussed, the risk and benefit rating, and also then a discussion of what are the access management requirements of the road at this western portion of the road segment. So I think that between the stop 4 and stop 5, I think we're looking at a road that's over 4 miles long. And once more, to give you an overview in the watershed, that road is traversing the watershed somewhere in through here. At either tour stop 5 or somewhere in the shade, there will be a debriefing to let everybody collect their thoughts on what they saw during the day. And then from that point, we will all caravan back to the Council Ranger District and get to the ranger station about an hour later. So we plan to have everybody back by 4 o'clock, and I'll see you on the 24th.